There's a video by the YouTube channel Politics Watch where he shows how the Jamaican crime rate declined, going from 1,038 murders in 1997 and dropping to 849 murders in 1999. During that time, Sizzla was on the heights, releasing classic albums like Black Woman and Child, Praise Ye Jah, Freedom Cry, Good Ways, Royal Son of Ethiopia, B.I. Strong, with numerous singles that weren't on the albums, right? Um, is this a coincidence or is this an accurate analysis?
First of all, you're talking about my uprising. When you talk about that period of time, that is when I came into the culture. So it's not a coincidence. I was a product of that uprising. You know, I was a young student at Howard University when I first heard Praise Ye Jah, you know, and I went through that album and was captivated. All of these early Sizzla Kalanji, this was the soundtrack. I was on a college campus, you know, the Mecca, and I could see the races that were coming, African American brethren, Trinidad, Barbados. There was a portion of us. I graduated with 7 Rastafari brethren in my graduating class. We had an on-campus organization, the Ethiopian Rastafari Community. And the soundtrack was Sizzla Kalanji, Anthony B., Capleton, Garnet Silk.
Firebrand.
You see, man, I said Tony Rebel, Everton Blender. There was
Norris Man in the
Norris
mix,
Man. All of these artists were releasing Jamaican. All of these artists were releasing music. Luciano, I can't forget Luciano.
You got Luciano.
You know, classic.
Luciano, no disrespect. Luciano on a different. Luciano different too, you know.
Buju Banton, Till Shiloh, you know, all of this was happening. Capleton left from Jamaica, go a foreign pan tour. These music, and this shows the power of music because the youths in Jamaica were now gravitating to Rastafari message. So there was an alternative to be cool. You could be a Ras. You didn't have to be a gunman. You didn't have to do the crime. Rastafari was dominating the airwaves in Jamaica that was being played on the airwaves. I have several interviews on my channel where people are talking about that period, you know, the impact of the music. Countless brethren, as I say, I myself am a product. I still listen to 90s Kalanji right now. That is my soundtrack. And to I, the music is more relevant now than it even was then. However, that being said, we see that when that music is not there, the alternative, we see the crime rate rise. You know, what's the theme of the music in Jamaica now? Chopping, choppy line. What's that? Scamming. So we see that murder. And I was a big Bounty Killer fan. I will use the word fan because it was fanatical. Every Bounty Killer dub plate, I memorized them. They used to call me Bounty in high school.
He was a Bass Odyssey.
Yeah, Bass Odyssey.
I said Bounty Killer. I thought you said Buju Banton. Sorry.
No. You can say Bass Odyssey, but we would have said 4x4 Exodus. I started with Black Cat when he was Bounty Hunter, dub for dub. You know, I go from that from there, and I followed the career up. So the gunman thing was there. I don't want to talk like our generation never had the badness. And I think that Bounty Killer gave birth to a lot of what's happening right now. I have to be honest. You know what I mean? However, it's out of control now, and there's the balance to eyes is no longer prevalent in the music. The dancehall, you know, is mostly murdered. You don't even see Rastafari vibration. There used to be a portion of the dance where they would play the culture songs and thing. You don't really see that anymore.
I brought it up because there are 2 things I wanted to touch on along with what you just said. Is one, with that said, how do artists say they don't have their music doesn't have an impact on the population?
It's a cop-out.
No.
You know, it's definitely a cop-out because at the same time, people are paying you to advertise products. Why are people going to pay you if you have no influence, if you have no impact, if you don't have the sway to get people to do something? So, you know, I think it's a cop-out that artists use because they don't want to take responsibility. Remember, when you make a record, you know, you're making a record in the history that is a written this goes on the historical record. So if
Serious
you're,
responsibility.
it's a serious responsibility. You are leaving an indelible mark, and then you're doing it on rhythm. So it's moving the people, and it's going into the subconscious. So if you're doing that, and you're just giving people negative, then you're responsible. There are two roads, good and evil. Number regardless is either you're serving the Most High or you serve the devil. There's no in between, and this is the thing that we have to understand for the youths. Now, if you want to do that music, take accountability. I'm not stopping anyone because I'm not here to convert or proselytize to no one. However, just know what you are doing. Is your music better in the society, or is it taking society into a dark place? Two roads.
And I don't want to get off conspiracy theory, right? But it seems like the death of Bob Marley and that switch to Yellow Man and the switch in Sizzla, I can't say decline because he came out with the one with Bobby Digital, the classic album,
Yes.
years later, but
Real thing.
real thing.
Yeah.
When Sizzler made a switch, it seemed like a correlation with the rise and fall of reggae music and the rise and fall of Rastafari.
Yes.
Do you notice that?
I would say that the core has always remained. I want to be clear, but you always have ones that gravitate to something that is going. And I saw this because, again, during that Sizzla Kalanji time, a lot of brethren grew locks. A lot of brethren were there. When Sizzla Kalanji switched the message, a lot of them trim, a lot of them. So the question is, were they really Rastafari within that time, or were they just, experimenting? And that, I think, because the core people who are there are still my brethren to this day. They're still doing works. And that's even one of the reasons I started my channel, because there's this concept that Rastafari is not doing nothing go on because we rise and fall with the artists. So I want to be very careful in ascribing what's going on with the movement. Yes, it helps when the artists who are PR, for lack of a better word, are on message and on brand and out there with the teachings of His Majesty. But I don't want people to be fooled because, for example, within the Nyabingi order, which I'm a Nyabingi brethren, enough people don't listen reggae. They don't listen to dancehall. Is Nyabingi straight? You go in at them vehicle, they're playing Nyabingi. Isis that they've recorded. So the core of the movement has remained. However, in terms of the youth, the intake, the funnel that brings people to the core, I think that's where the impact lies when our reggae mansion or the brethren who are our PR, our artists, start to go off the pathway and they start to, sing lyrics that are not consistent with the teaching of His Imperial Majesty.
And more than just Rastafari, just as people consuming the music, because I would be like a Luciano and Sizzla fanatic. I
Yes.
just put it out there, right? And like Luciano had me on the heights in regards to a moral standard of living.
Yes.
And maybe I should have posed the statement differently, not just left it to Rastafari, but just people in general.
Yes.
Their music really encourages a more conscious lifestyle, or liberty, as the Ras would say, and a more, I don't want to say loving heart, but yeah, just a more conscious lifestyle. And I think you can see how it's changed dramatically with the music, because you saw that with Chronic's crew for a little bit. You saw more people have more people's getting to the plant-based vibe.
Yes, yes.
But then it seemed like the thing just popped down with the, as the thing changed, because the artists changed.
Yes.
And they're not giving out that visual and that message anymore.
That's true.
So like back to what you were saying earlier, man, like I think the artists need to take responsibility for the message and the impact that they have, and stop using it as a cop-out to say they don't impact people, because they impact people way more than they know.
Huge impact. I want to encourage all of the artists that are watching this, because enough of them will watch this. We have to do better. The world is descending into chaos as we speak. Our elders spoke about this time that we're living in right now. This is where the Rastafari voice is so needed and necessary. So I'm encouraging all of the artists to really dig deep and to give that message, that direction that can help a young man to live up, to find his purpose, to play his role in this great Armageddon struggle that is unfolding, because we have been called to call the righteous, and that is one of the roles of Rastafari. That's what His Majesty went around the world gathering the people to educate themselves, to rise up. We are the continuation of this uprising. So it's so necessary for the artists right now to rise up. I don't want to judge what they've done. Their judgment will be life will judge them. We want to encourage them as a big brother to enough of them, as a younger brother to some of them. The time to return is now. So I want to really be that positive voice then to my Rastafari, and also Pan-African brethren and sistren, because we can't forget in the civil rights struggle when a James Brown said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." We can't forget the Sam Cooks, you know what I mean? Marvin Gaye, you know what I mean? The music, whether it's Caribbean music, whether it's Calypso, whether it's Fela in Africa, we always have a tradition as African people of using the music as a soundtrack to the uprising. And I think this is the time when creatives of all genres, black people, because this is a black platform, unapologetically need to rise and use their voice for the benefit of the people. There's a clip that's circulating right now with Mos Def critiquing Drake about him not using his platform to send that message out. And I think a lot of people are missing what Mos Def was really trying to say, which is, yes, he's making music, it's commercially viable, you buy it in Target and all of that, but you're at the top of the pinnacle. What is your message? What is your legacy that you're leaving? Where are you leading the people to? You know what I mean? And this is what any creative that you want to make your mark in history that transcends time and space. The great Robert Nesta Marley, his movies coming out, is a great example. Regardless of all time, his music will stand because he stood for something. You know what I mean? So I want to encourage all of these artists, young, old, reggae, hip hop, because I'm an artist myself. I'm probably one of the greatest MCs to ever walk the earth. I'm going to say that because it's a big platform. I have to big up myself. But I'm getting ready to release some music, so I'm holding myself accountable to the same standard. You know what I mean? And I'm calling every artist. It's time. This is the time where we've been waiting for this time. There's no better time than now. We can reach the whole world. We don't have to go through the middleman, the gatekeepers that would not invest. We ain't going to invest in ourselves. Let us come together as conscious artists. We can't save everyone, but those who know better, let us do better.